Hey, everybody, what's up? You know what? You know what's going on, man? You know what I'm excited about? I'm excited about two things. One, if you listened to the last episode, I just got back from Tahoe hanging out with a bunch of top dudes, which is cool. But I'm in today's Tuesday, you're listening to this. Thursday, I'm on a plane out to New Orleans, going to a family reunion. I'm flying in a couple days early, kind of checking out the city, and then I'll go to the event. Now, you guys, who's going? Who is going? Look, let's meet up. I want to throw an event for all my peeps, all my listeners. I hate that word peeps. I don't know why I just said that. My 11-year-old says that. I don't like it when he says it. Anyhow, so all you guys, as well as my past guests. So we're going to be crashing. I'm staying at the Hilton. We're going to be crashing one of the lounges there at the Hilton. So hit me up, man. Send me an email at superagentslive@gmail, and we'll get you on the list. I've gotten a lot of people. I've been so busy. People have been sending me emails, and I haven't been putting them in one thing. So if you send me an email, don't just send me another one. Hit me when you're there. Right. The other thing I'm excited about is our new thing, Viralcast. I'm really excited about this. It's a done-for-you podcasting service. We're making it. I mean, and it is the response that we've gotten out in the market has been crazy. If you want and have been thinking about doing a podcast, do it, man. Let's do it. We created this thing, drop dead, simple, easy. All you guys, you don't have to buy anything, you don't have to learn anything. You sign up. You set a date and time, we call you, we record, we edit, we produce using the cutting edge software, actual radio software, and then we publish it to iTunes, Stitcher, social, blah, blah, blah. You can use it as a way to mine your database, to generate a new audience. And I'll tell you, man, here's the thing. You can do all that stuff, grow your business with it, all that's great. I will tell you that what I think is great about having a show is you get access to people you would not normally get access to. It is crazy, just from having my platform, the kind of things that have happened, right? Or the people I get access to, number one. But number two, HGTV has hit me up to be on to do a TV show. Yahoo interviewed me. I mean, that's huge. So it's insane. So if you want a podcast, hit me up and let's chat about it. We're just now creating the site, but I want to let you guys all in. And for those early birders who sign up prior to the website going live, we're going to give you guys a pretty big discount for that. All right, hey, let's get today's show. Now, today's show, this guy's in Kansas City. He's one of those guys, right? About 400 deals a year. Here's the interesting thing about this guy. He's 29. He's 29 years old. He doesn't sound like it when you hear him. He doesn't sound like a 29-year-old. But so he's 29 years old. He does, he's doing 400 deals a year about. And every year this guy he's a Lamborghini guy. And so every year he buys a brand new Lamborghini. Which is pretty interesting. I'm sure some of you guys out there go, yeah, I wanted that. Anyhow, here's what we talked about. He's only been in the business for 9 years. So he's again, a 29-year-old kid who's cracked the code. He's growing 25-30% every year. So we talk about how the guy spent the first 5 years grinding, and now the guy's hitting smooth sailing, buying a new Lambo every year. We talk about what he thinks the secret sauce is. And for him, he thinks his secret sauce is just discipline. He gets in, he spends the first 3 hours of his day, even now, he spends the first 3 hours of his day making calls. Now, in the beginning, it was just calling, right? Calling expireds, FSBOs, whatever. And now he's done enough deals that he just calls his past clients. So we talk about a few things with that, right? We talk about how to work your database. We talk about some scripts that he uses. We talk about some he says he's a real big question guy. So we talk about some of the questions he uses whenever he gets somebody on the phone. So we talk about hitting your database, how to get more referrals, and he shares. He's a math guy. Okay, so he shares how he has tracked everything, and he knows his return from every phone call he makes, from every note he writes, from every party he throws. So pretty interesting character. Anyhow, okay. Welcome to Super Agents Live. This is the one place where you can come and hear the most successful people in real estate. You'll hear how these super agents built their businesses, how they stay productive, and how they stay motivated. Who am I? My name's Toby Salgado, and I made my first million in real estate. Yeah. And I'm your host for the next 30 minutes while we talk to yet another amazing real estate entrepreneur. Stay tuned.
Let's go! Yeah!
Really quickly, as you guys know, boom, boom, boom. Here we go. Twitter. All right. My Twitter handle is @SuperAgentsLive. A hashtag for the show is Unpack That Idea. I'd love to meet you out on Twitterville. You're not going to want to miss future episodes like this. So what do? You get on my list. Go to the site. Give me your email. I will give you, and there's lots of stuff. You can download a free book. Boom, go get it. We have a membership site in there that we haven't talked about in a long time. It's free, but we have lots of tracking stuff. So we have some scripts. We have a bunch of stuff in there. I really intended to have that as like a thing where you guys, I just haven't charged you for it. so go check it out. Go sign up for the membership, but just go to the list. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to the show on iTunes. And I'll tell you something that really helps the show. Reviews. Give it, if you're so inclined and you have a couple minutes extra, give us a review. I'd appreciate it. All right, that's it. Let's get to it. Today on the show, I'm excited to talk to today's guest. Now, we did a little pre-chat before we started recording here, and here's the thing. I found out this is a young guy, man. He's 29 years old, but he's got an interesting lineup. He's got a team of 7 agents, all right, 1 admin. So that poor girl is overworked, or guy, and then 1 full IT guy, which is really interesting. So those 7 agents, 1 admin. You know how many deals? 390 deals. They're out in Kansas City, and I'm thrilled to welcome Brian Huff. Hey, Brian, thanks for taking the time out, man.
Yes, you're very welcome. Thanks for having me on.
So listen, as I shared with the audience, you're a young guy. You've been in the real estate for 9 years. I mean, you were 20 years old. You got into real estate. You found your calling. Yeah. But look, I want to get into what's working, how you've had this. You've really come out of the gate firing. But before we get there, I always like to know a little bit about you, something personal. So tell us a little bit of a story about who Brian Huff is.
Well, I'll give you a little bit of background here and so forth. I was a civil engineering graduate there from KU, Kansas University, there at a younger age. Married, have a 3-year-old Vander. Some of my kind of about me and so forth, and my free time with real estate, what I enjoy is sports car cruising, only 7 months out of the year here in Kansas. Some of the CrossFit courses and so forth. And, I have no problem, finding time or filling voids there to fill my free time.
Gotcha. So just so I know, because I'm a car guy as well. So
Sure.
Do you like cruising or do you race? Are you?
No, I like It's more cruising.
Got it.
We buy a lot of West Coast cars and, on our to-do boards and obviously goal highlights and all on my personal item is there's a new car I want yearly. So that keeps me kicking.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and again, I know this is a little bit of a side, but this is how the show goes. So what kind of cars? I'm a Porsche guy. I have a bunch of Porsches. So what are you?
See, and I like the Porsches. I'm with you. They're good cars, a lot of fun. I've been a Lamborghini guy.
Oh.
We have a Lamborghini Murcielago SV. That's, one of them that we have. And
yeah.
Sometimes I wonder why I haven't, with a 3-year-old. No, we don't do that as much as we'd like. But that's kind of been my focus car-wise.
That is cool, man. I've never driven a Lamborghini. I've had a Ferrari before. I've had a Ferrari, but I never a Lambo. Okay.
They're fun. I mean, you're missing out.
Well, look, again, you're 29. You have, this exotic taste. Take us back to your first year. All right. Take us back there. How, because look, you were an engineering guy, right? So you're a math nerd, right? You're really good at math. And then, typically those math folks are not sales folks. So how did I mean, what was how do you tie that in? How do you tie engineering in?
Well, the math thing, I'll tell you, is a little deceiving. I was never really much of a math guy. When I was going through high school, my last 3 years of high school, I did an internship with Sprint, and it was a business-to-business sales internship. A lot of how real estate works. It was call appointments, foot in the door, presentation, and then conversion. So to me, going into college, and obviously with my, taste of Italian sports cars at a young age, I knew that I had to do something there that would give me a good return. So I went to a career seminar, and I didn't know anybody in the business. I never really thought about the business, but thought it would be a good conversion. So did a career seminar and just really jumped in the deep end. My first year in real estate, I tell you, as soon as I got my license, I was knocking on doors. I was calling for sale by owners. I was calling expired listings. I had read all the books in preparation beforehand, a month or two before. Jumped in the deep end, and I think, that first month I was in the business, I had set up about 8 to 9 listing appointments, get my feet wet. And it was sloppy, I get it, but, that was the pencil to be sharpened up the road. Did a listing appointment, closed my first deal about 60 days in, and by month 6, and this is all based off of for sale by owners and expired listings. That was the business that I jumped into. It was an opportunity, and it was just doing it, and as we go along, I didn't have anybody at that time, and this was the hardest part that was kind of guiding me, telling me what to do, so I had to do a lot of it by trial and error, getting out in the marketplace and kind of finding what works, what does not. And by the end of month 6, I think the first years that I had done was a little over 8 million in transactions.
Wow.
Okay, month 6 that we were steadily doing, about 9 to 12 deals a month and so forth. And that was on my own. We didn't have help. I was going in and getting it done. So, from there on out, it's just been obviously improving, sharpening the systems, getting the right people in place. And, year by year, we've grown 25 to 30% per year. So seen a great return.
So how does a guy like you, so it sounds like you're a guy, you have no problems with hustling. Is that accurate? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Now, man, look, so you tried a little bit of everything, right? You knocked on doors, you did expireds, for FISBOs.
I did a lot of the grind work to build the business up, and I did that for about 5 years is what I did, and by year 5, I was doing 25 to 30 million on my own. I had one part-time helper. So that was a lot of hustle at that time.
Right. So now, just again, I think that most people are probably not going to have. I mean, you're a little bit of an outlier, right? You're a little bit of a unicorn. So people are out there working as hard as you, but they're not getting the results that you are. You indicated earlier that you didn't have anybody to learn from. You were just kind of doing a trial by fire.
Correct.
How does a guy like you, what were you reading for you to kind of, it sounds like you quickly figured it out, right? You sharpening your saw. What were some of the things that got you to be able to figure it out?
I tell you, the best thing that I contribute a lot of it to was just discipline, to me, and I ran it like a business. So I knew from day one, obviously this wasn't something I wanted to do for 1-2 years. It was something I wanted to, have a guaranteed income, something I knew up the road I wouldn't have to work quite as hard for a return, and something I could pass on to the future son of mine that was coming up. So, I was the discipline of it. And my big thing, and I still do this to this day, my business line is my 3 hours in the morning on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and that's about what it always was, to lead generation. And now instead of calling for sale owners expired, I'm calling past clients database, which has yielded more results, but that was, now versus then. But, it's the discipline of getting in and actually running your business. And that's the lead generation that, yields you, that 20-80 rule and so forth, that yields you the 80% of your business line. So that's what I'll contribute. Number one was just getting in every morning, knowing that has to happen.
Yep.
No matter how many fires are out there, what's going to, be a cause to get in and get that done.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so, look, the point that you're making, I think the point you're bringing out, Brian, is that, consistency and hard work will trump talent every time, right? You just get in there and put in the reps.
Correct.
So when it comes to, so you knew what you needed to do, right? You knew that you needed to prospect, you're getting on the phone. What about, just the basics of learning scripts, or, you know what I mean? Like that basic, did you learn that with Sprint and you just translated it over to real estate? Or?
Yeah, a big part of it. The one thing is I always have to have, my life's very orderly. It's a punch list. It's task by task, and that includes scripts. So for anything I do, if it's a buyer call, if it's a listing call, if it's the for sale owner call or past client call, I do have scripts, and I started day one making scripts. They weren't pretty, but obviously I tweaked them as I went along. And everybody has a script that's going to work for them and so forth. Mine, when I'm prospecting, it all includes a lot of questioning. Okay. My big thing is I've always been a biggie with questions. Even when I was building this business in the first year or two, it was always, why did you not list it with a realtor? What are you looking for? Why did you not work with a realtor in the past? What are you looking for in your current realtor? So a lot of questions that would yield answers, from sellers and buyers and potential sellers that I could convert to, sharpen my presentation and sharpen what my scripts are going to be and how I go about it. But I think the scripting and having a good basis and having a plan of action is a big part of it, no question.
So, okay. So, and I think that Socratic method, right? Asking people and because if you can ask enough questions, you can figure out, and this is why, I don't want to derail this, but this is why doing a good pre-qualification call is so important, right? If you learn their motivations, right, you can go into the listing and presentation and kill it. How do you engage people for, people today have a short attention span. And if you call me and start asking me a bunch of questions, I don't like being asked questions, right? Because, right. So how do you engage people so quickly that you can, ask them 4, 5, 8, I don't know how many questions you ask.
Yeah, I come in, and here's my thing. When I make a call, okay, this is an expired, a FSBO, even a potential seller that's a referral to me, I'm asking 3 to 4 questions off the bat. Here's the thing. When you ask a question, you're going to get a response, okay? If you're talking, you're going to have a lot of those people you're talking about with short time frame, short fuse. It's going to kind of blow up on you. Yeah. So I go with 4 quick questions to see what the qualification is. My call when I'm calling somebody, number one is, why are you selling the home? What's your motivation? Why are you selling it yourself versus hiring a realtor? And do you have an agent or agency you would list it with if the time were to come up the road and you were to go that route? So I know, within the first half a minute of a call, and after 4 or 5 questions, and I don't have much rebuttal on the question. If somebody's busy, they'll ask me to give them a call back. But generally, if I can ask questions and I get them answering the questions and doing a majority of the talking, you're controlling the situation and you're not going to have that cutoff or, the false scope with them on the other end of it.
Okay.
So,
go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, so that's why, with my script and so forth, I have a list. And when I get to 4 questions, 1/2 a minute in the phone call, I know at that point if it's a lead that's going to work continuing on or not.
Okay.
Because the biggest thing I see with a lot of people is, wasting a lot of time or, going forward with the lead that's not going to pan out or, low motivation buyer, seller, et cetera. And that's the worst thing you can do in this business.
Yeah, right. Money is a renewable resource that's easy to get. Time is not. So I 100% agree with that. Okay, so you get them on now. When you maybe walk us through, if you could, Brian. Well, let me ask a different question real quick. A lot of the stuff that you've told us now in this first 10 minutes of us talking is you're really focusing on the expired. You're really focusing on the FSBOs. Was that and is that still a majority of your listings? Is that where the majority of them come from?
No, that first 5 to 6 years in this business, it was 95% of what I had.
Wow.
Okay. This year, when I hit that year 5 to 6, what I said, I got myself financially set. I was in a position where I wanted to be. And at that time, it was kind of where I changed roles and said, I want less hour involvement here. I want the same results, if not more. Okay. I want more results for less work is ultimately what that came down to. So what I did at that time is focus my energy of the lead generation and all that I was doing, calling for sub-owners, expireds, canceled. And at that time, I built a good book of business, people that knew me, it was reputable, people that I could ask for referrals or ask them for friends, family, neighbors that were looking to buy or sell and trusted me enough to refer them to me. So I kind of did a 180 and switched my prospecting activities to my database, anybody that I knew that were looking to buy, sell, anybody that would refer me, anybody looking to buy or sell, past clients, and sphere of influence. So I took that 3 hours on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, which you're going to still find me doing every week, all week, when it comes time, because that is my business line. But I'm calling them, I'm touching base with them, I'm giving them information on the marketplace, and I'm also asking them for referrals, not so much just for them, but any friends, family, anybody they know looking to buy or sell real estate.
And how do you, I recently had a Michael Mayer of 7 Levels of Communication. Do you know who Michael is? Yeah. So
I know Michael. Yeah.
Yeah, Mike. He's been on the show a couple times, and I recently had him on. I recorded with him a week or two ago, and we spent a lot of time talking about this. And what he would say, and I'm not. This is not a gotcha question at all, Brian. So I don't think it is. But he would say like the worst thing you can do is ask for a referral, and then for Michael, he rolled us through like how he does it, his philosophy. How do you just come out and say, hey, listen, do you know any friends, family, neighbors? Like, how do you?
Oh, yeah. I explain, with my big thing, and I disagree. I feel like if you don't give anybody an expectation up front of how your business runs and, ask them for a referral, they're not going to send you a referral.
Yeah.
When I go to, and this is how it is, right up front when I meet with somebody, on our presentation booklet about the team, how we work, I have a sheet in there, that explains to how our business works. And what I tell them, up front is, guys, we're not like a lot of realtors. A lot of realtors spend time, continuously prospecting for the next client, knocking on doors, making cold calls. Our focus is on our actual client database. We are 100% referral based. This is where our world comes in so that we can put our time and emphasis in actually looking at homes for our buyers, prospecting potential buyers for our sellers, so on. But the way this thing snowballs is, obviously we do a great job for you, and when we do a good job for you, I want you to refer us to people of the same quality here that we can do a great job for as well, so we can keep this world turning. That's kind of the upfront building to explain to them how our business works and the way we go about that. I make a call to, anytime we have a buyer or seller that goes under contract, every Wednesday they get a call from me. I go over progress, I go over updates, and I do ask for referrals. Every time I talk to them at the end of our conversation is, guys, I just want you to know, again, my business works by referral. If you hear anybody looking to buy or sell real estate, please refer them our way. I give you our word, we're going to take great care of them. So I do constantly ask for referrals.
Okay.
And if you don't ask, or you go lightly, or you tread around with a little hint at the end, I didn't have nearly the results when I tried doing it that way. Because when I started doing it, I was scared to death to ask for referrals. Now, hell, everybody I come across, I'm asking for a referral, whether I know them or not.
Right, and I would agree with you, and I'll tell you a quick story that I'm really telling the audience. But in college, I painted houses. That's what I did to put myself through school. And this one lady that I'd done a bunch of work for, I'm at her house, and she said, "Hey, Toby, I'm throwing a birthday party for my husband. Do you know anybody that plays music?" And I was like, "No, I don't. I don't." And then the next day, she asked me, and really, here's what she was at. She was really asking if I knew a DJ. Right. The next day, she's asked me the same thing. I'm throwing the birthday party. Do you know a DJ? And I was like, oh, yeah, my roommate is a DJ. So my point is, you need to ask that very specific question in order to elicit that very specific answer. So I agree with you, Brian. I think that's a great way to go about it. Now,
well, we do, and we even make it a celebration of. We send out a monthly piece in the mail. We do certain pop-by clients. We stay in touch with everybody, and they know it. Everything we send out, everything we talk about, it's either thank you for the support and referrals, or hey, since we work by referrals, I want to refer you to a great reputable source that we've worked with here. Here's a plumber contact. So it's constantly reiterating that with your client database, and it's constant contact. I mean, we've got it down to a science. I know for every call how much it nets me in the end. I know for every note we write how much it nets, every party that we do, every person that I visit. So it comes down to dollars and cents, and, we've gotten down to that, really, the pennies of it.
There's the math guy popping back up again.
Yep. There's a little bit of math background comes in, yeah.
So, look, I've interviewed 300 top guys, just like you, Brian, and I can tell you that the one thing they all have in common is, just like you, they set out to build a business. So, and again, I'm saying that for the audience. If you want to be successful, you need to do what Brian's doing. Set out, build a business. Okay. When for you, Brian, right? You're set out to build a business. I'm just kind of getting a feel for who you are. I'm sure you set out. You wrote a business plan. Was all this mapped out beforehand? In terms of
it was. I mean, not so much the first 4 to 5 years. No. Okay, at that time, I knew I wanted to build a business, but, I was running around jiggling my head cut off. I didn't have much plan to put a business plan in action. I was just trying to keep up with the everyday operation. About 4 to 5 years into it, yes. That's where I really had just put the pencil to paper and said, now this is how I want to do things. This is what I want the business to look like here. And I had done I think 10 years is what I had done when I had sat down and actually made that mark, saying 10 years, this is the way I want things to run. This is what I want production to be. This is what I want daily operations to be. These are the people I want in place. So I was very specific on that, yes.
So,
and that's what we've gotten down to now. My thing, when I hand the business down to Bander here in 15, 18 years, if he wants the business, and hope he does, that it's kind of, here's the operating manual. I can give you a 6-page manual how this thing works. These are the ABCs, and they're going to yield you the BEs and E's.
So, yeah. And I want to talk about that a little bit. Let's project into the future a little bit. A lot.
Yeah.
So your kid, it's a boy. What his name's Andrew?
Bander.
Xander
with a B.
Bander.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's a first. I've never heard that.
You don't hear that every day.
No. Well, you don't. My name's Toby, right? You don't hear Toby every day either. Okay, Bander.
Okay.
So do you think with if we look at Zillow, Trulia, all that stuff, do you think 18 years from now, even 10 years from now, is real estate gonna fundamentally stay the same, or in terms of a realtor being involved? Do you see that ever changing, Brian? That's a way crazy
No,
question.
everything's coming more techie year by year. People have more knowledge, technology. Anything they can find at the click of a finger here. But it's also becoming more dangerous. You're never going to see a buy it now real estate out there. We know that for a fact. And I find as though that really what's happening here with the world becoming more and more technology-based and more online access is I'm seeing a lot of people there that are actually going back to more and more basics, That's why with me, in my business line here and so forth, the actual calls, the pop buys in person and all, me attending my closings in person and me going over and getting listing agreements signed in person, it's different from what the world's going to, instead of the click of a mouse. But what it's yielding is extraordinary results year by year, because it's kind of been like almost a lost technology out there, lost form of doing sales. So, what I see, no, I think in real estate here, people are going to rely more and more on relationships, and old school ways of doing so as this technology progresses. So I don't see that being an issue.
Okay.
Technology can be good, but it's also dangerous for a lot of people. Everybody thinks they know things and they get burned on it here. So, I see both sides of it there, but no, I think, 20 years from now, the way we do business and, the old school getting in front of people and touching base and staying in touch and, keeping people informed is going to yield the same results it does now.
Do you think that we'll ever get to a world where instead of paying 6%, 3 and 3 to sell your house, is it going to get down to 1 and 1? Do you see the economics changing?
No, I don't see that. My big thing is, and I have that committee. Every time I go into a listing presentation, I'm dealing with 4% realtors. They've always been around. They're always there. And the way I get around this is I talk to sellers about this, and I say, guys, my business is like any business. There's overhead to do it the right way. By the time I pay the right people to make sure that these tasks are done correctly, the photographers, the stagers, by the time we market, and I just went through my marketing plan with you, per se, is completed. And by the time I get this and do it right with my negotiation skills and representation here, guys, I'm netting a real small chunk of that pie. We even bring a sheet in that shows them we've really done a good job breaking that down. They kind of show them in the end what our net dollar is comparison to a 6% commission with some of these other realtors out there. Kind of like that whole phase that, hey, guys, these people can do it for 4% or 1%. I could do the same thing. I just have to cut out this whole book of stuff I gave you here, to get it done and done right.
Okay.
Then it's a sign in the yard placed on the MLS and pray it'll sell, and it's not going to do it for you.
Right. Okay. No, that's good.
So I deal more with the competition edge of, lower agent commissions and all. But I tell you, year by year, the way we've handled it and explained this to people, I've had less and less, negative results because of it as well. So it's working out well.
So what is okay? And I know that you're constantly over communicating that, hey, listen, guys, our business is built on referrals. Okay, so you're telling people that. What is, when you go in, what is Brian Huff's unique selling proposition? If you were sitting across from me at a listing presentation, what's magical about you?
Well, and that's what you have to have, value. If you're going in there and you're selling the same product as somebody that's a 4% realtor, obviously, why would you charge more than 4%? We're confident we have a good product, systems in place, the people to do it. So when I'm going in, we sit down in a listing presentation, we have a good printed book that we use, we have about me brochure, personal background. We have all of our preparation pieces, but some of the key points that we point out to them, that we provide that other realtors don't. Number one, the team atmosphere. Everybody has their duty. They're the best at what they do. I'm not one person trying to juggle everything on my own, as are a lot of the realtors out there, to ensure it's done and done correctly. So we explain to everybody what each person's duty is, and this is so everybody can do it right, and there's no loose ends, nothing squeezes through the cracks here. It's done with the least amount of inconvenience to you. Number two is our marketing plan. We have a very strict, specific marketing plan that we do. We outline it for the sellers. We pay to be featured property links. We have real aggressive print and Excel campaigns. And we don't put a lot of our money into it, but it's different than what a lot of realtors are doing here. And when we're on a listing appointment, they've talked to 6 or 7 realtors. We want to show them what the differences are we offer compared to other realtors. Communication's a biggie. One thing I've always told to my sellers is that, guys, number one, we're going to be in touch with you, okay? You're going to hear from us every step of the process. We don't just stick a sign in the yard, we run off. You're going to hear from us, and I do set them up front that they're going to get communication every step along the way. We have some systems that we use, so if something's plugged in as a featured property on Zillow, they get notified. Feedback requests are sent automatically. They get a call from me every Wednesday, and I haven't missed one of those Wednesday calls in 2 years.
Wow.
So it's going to go over the marketplace with them and all. And, here's your thing is, I'm giving a lot of promises here. I have to fulfill all of them. You have to make sure of it, but that's where you're setting expectations, and you have to fulfill those expectations. Communication, the process itself, the negotiation skills. So we have a whole list of ins and outs that we do over other realtors there, and, we need to hold through with it.
Okay, those Wednesday calls. Now you have those with all your sellers and all your buyers. Is that what I?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, every Wednesday, and keep in mind here, every time I make that call at the end of it, I'm asking for a referral. So that counts as me pending deals and listed deals, probably 120 contacts or so. So that's probably my biggest day of the week.
Yeah. Okay. It's a lot of calls. So do you?
But.
Yeah. Okay. Do you? So
when they're outgoing calls, they're quick and they're proactive. If I get an incoming call from a seller or buyer, hell, I'm on for 8-10 minutes. That's what I avoid. So my outgoing proactive calls, and the good thing is setting those expectations Wednesday up front, doing it every Wednesday.
Yeah.
I don't get many calls from sellers, buyers, and all until they actually get that update from me. Okay.
Interesting.
And it's a quick proactive update, and it's scripted out. It's every time, hey, I'm calling to give you a quick update. You're a high priority to me. We're doing everything possible to get you a good offer. Here's the quick reviews on feedback. I'm sure you've seen it there. Here's our quick marketing update. Do you have any questions, concerns for me? Unless something comes up before then, I'll touch base with you this time next week. And sweet and simple, it's a minute and a half long.
Okay.
So I get all those calls done in about 2.5 to 3 hours.
That's amazing, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, but you touched on something that I was meaning to ask. So you said if nothing changes, whatever, you're gonna hear from me next Wednesday at this time. So
yeah, unless something comes up, you'll hear from me this time next week.
Oh, right. Okay, but hold on, Brian. So when I sign up, I hire you to sell my house. Do you at that point say, okay, hey Toby, just so whenever in the conversation, okay, hey Toby, listen. Every Wednesday, I'm gonna touch base with you and let you know how it's going. And 10:15 is the time slot that I put you in. Do you put them in a specific time slot?
No, I give them a range. I make my calls and I tell them. I sit down Wednesdays. I call all sellers, call all buyers. That happens from 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock noon.
I got it. Okay. Now, do you?
And if they're not reachable at all, I leave them the same voicemail update.
Okay.
I give them a quick overview on feedback. I send them an email that says, "Hey, I left you a detailed voicemail. Let me know if you have any questions, concerns. And just leave it at that.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't want to take a bunch of callbacks through the remainder of the day.
Right. Yeah. So, just help me. I think this is brilliant. Okay. I love this that you do this, Brian, but. Help me understand really quickly. So I'm a seller of yours.
Yeah.
Do you tell me how many what kind of stuff are you sharing with me? Hey, we got 3 inbound calls from our database interested in your property. We had 2 showings. Like what kind of info do you pass along on that Wednesday call?
Well, and it's the same thing. Number one, when I call them, what I do is I review a quick feedback remark. We use a showing system here. So what we do is every showing we have Christy follows up. She makes sure we get feedback, and they're sent to them via email right after a showing. Okay, so they get that information. So I'll do a quick overview on the last week's showings, and this is while I'm making the call. Generally, I'm clicking through again. I get auto updates. So I'm looking at the feedback. So we'll discuss that first and foremost. For example, Mary, we had 3 buyers through. Great feedback on the home. The big concern I've had is the main road. We talked about this, but otherwise real good news on the home. Then we'll go over the marketplace real quick. I want to give you a quick update on the market. We're seeing a little bit of a slowdown. Everybody's back to school. It's a little bit of a stall that we get, but good news is soon following, generally we see good pickup in the marketplace. Then I go over a quick marketing update. So what we've done this week is Tuesday, we sent out an Excel campaign via email to all the realtors in the area, giving them some information about the home. We had our, just listed or just reduced postcard that went out last Tuesday, and we are freshening everything up. What we've done is changed the keyword in our listing right up again to, freshen us up on the website search engine, so we're keeping it fresh for you. Just want you to know we're working for you always. So that's about the simplicity of the call.
Okay. Now that's good stuff. Now, do you, let's say that showings, let's say that the market's starting to get softer, right? Typically, wait, before I get there, do you, when you,
well, you're right. This market's calls are different than what it was 3 to 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Because those calls were frustrating. I had to have a little bit more support figures, numbers, about the market to relate to them.
Yep.
That's where the engineering background comes in. But, so it's different, today's market versus what it will be in a year or 2 years when these rates start going up again.
Right. No, and I'm curious, Brian, do you, when you sign me up as a seller, are you're obviously running through your program. This is how we're going to list it. This is how we're going to market it. This is all the stuff we're going to do. Do you forecast? Do you give me a sense of, okay, listen, here's the number of showings or inbound? Like, do you do any kind of forecasting to set my expectations for what's going to happen and the timeline?
Yeah, what I do when I sit down with the listing presentation, I go through our services. Here's my marketing services. Here's examples of what we do. Here's how the team works. Here's our guarantee. Here's the communication plan. Then I get them in agreement. Guys, tell me, you've interviewed 3 realtors. Am I, good fit for you guys? Can we work together in this process? I'll get their commitment there. Okay, so then, yes, we're hired, we're signed. Then I tell them we're going to go as a separate piece of information here, pricing. Because I don't determine price, nor do you guys. It's the marketplace. Not one realtor is going to tell you you're going to get more money than I, because we're going to look at the market. So then we kind of decide that. So I've already been hired. Now it's about the pricing. So when we go over the pricing is where I do set an expectation. I pull, detailed comparables. We go over the days on the market. I give them an idea what showing counts have been. I kind of take the lower end of showings, when I'm giving those figures. Okay, when I'm pulling up centralized showing and all in the days on the market there. So, yes, I do give them an expectation just to show them the reality of what the market's doing and reflect it back 6 months generally.
Okay, sorry, I had you muted for a second. That's good stuff, man. Well, let me ask again. I'm going to take you back to the beginning because you're obviously a very organized, bright guy. What do you know now, Brian, that you wish you would have known when you started?
That's a tough question. Ultimately, what I wish I would have known from the start there and so forth is just the referrals process. And my big thing is that, that first 5 years, and I tell you it's a shame because a lot of those people, and, I'd sold 100+ deals a year myself in those first 5 years towards it. But I wish I would have kept in touch with them. I wish I would have known the referrals. I wish I would have taken better care of them. I wish I would have stayed in communication with them because I can't tell you how many of them have probably sold again here. Right. I'm sure they were satisfied with my service but didn't know where to find me or what happened.
Right.
So I would say number one is building a database. If you're serious about it, it's something you want to grow on. It's building an actual database.
Yep.
And having a contact system in place for your clients.
A contact. Oh, you mean explain what that is? How you see that?
Well, like a contact management system, more or less a database you can keep all the names, numbers, addresses in. Yeah. So you know who you worked with, when you worked with them, how long they need to be contacted and all. Just a sort of a contact database system. It could be a pile of manila envelopes when you're getting started, and you convert it to a Microsoft Excel file, simple suite, but it's just a system to be sure staying in touch with everybody.
Yeah, we use Salesforce here.
Yeah, which we've used as well in the past, so it's a good system.
So yeah, everybody should have a database, and I think that's such a basic point that you made, right? Build your database and stay in touch with it. And it's crazy to me that in 2015 there's a ton of agents that don't know how to do that.
Yeah. And your biggest thing with all is doing it. Here's your thing. I've seen a lot of people in here and so forth that we trained, we've helped, that I tell you aren't probably the sharpest pencils on earth when it comes to converting and doing it right, and really getting it and selling. But they do it consistently, and every time those people are going to get the results.
Yeah.
And you get sharper as you go along. It's ugly, it's slop, it's a mess the first, 3 months, 4 months you do it. But as time goes by, it's going to become a lot easier.
Yeah, no, I agree. Okay, so build your database. Again, today in 2015, Brian, I know that you got a ton of momentum from your first 4 or 5 years, right? You're overworked, always tired, and you were hustling, and that set you up for where you're at today. And I know you work your database today, but is there what else are you doing today to put more names into your database other than asking for referrals?
It's always adding to my database. And here's a crazy thing. With my database there, I would say 20% of my best referral sources, 20% I've never done business with. Okay, so what I've done and what I passed on to my whole team here is every week we meet for team meeting, I make sure, and our goal is I make sure everybody's put at least 2 people in their database. Okay, and those are people that, my recommendation, and then what I tell them is, guys, when you're driving around after a day of work and all, if you saw somebody else's sign in the yard of somebody you knew or somebody that you had a reference of, and it would disappoint you, those are the people you need to add to your database. It can be business owners, it could be friends, families, it could be a past co-associate. I mean, you're just endless, resources and opportunities. When you're talking to them, you're always asking them, when you're qualifying them, if they have a database. If it's not, and you don't want to specifically that, but I want you to know that if you have a friend, a family, a neighbor that's looking to buy or sell real estate here, do you have somebody you'd refer them to? You probably heard this a couple of times, but it's such a simple script and the best script I can find. So those are the people you want to add into your database and just keep growing weekly, because that's where you're growing your business, not just your job, which is all the stuff that comes after, but your actual business line, which is your database.
Yep. But hold on, Brian. That simple script that you just said, say it one more time. So I want to make sure everybody got that. Say it again.
So if I meet somebody, and this is just a person at random, my word to them, if there's somebody I think would be qualified to go in the database, is, this is just an example. Hey, Joe, I want to ask you something. If you yourself or a friend, family, or neighbor, are looking to buy or sell real estate, do you have an agent or agency you'd refer them to? Okay, so that's a qualification question. If they say, yes, my sister's a realtor, well, great. You go on with it. Most of the time, 9 out of 10 times, they're going to say no, because nobody's ever asked them that. People don't stay in touch with them, so they're not going to get those referrals anyway. They say no, it's, well, great. I would love to add you to my database. I want to keep you one step ahead of what the real estate market's doing. That's what I do with all of my clients, the database. That we want to always keep you posted. We'll keep you up to date on the real estate market. All we ask in return is if you ever hear anybody looking to buy or sell real estate, you refer them to us. We'll take good care of them.
Okay, and let me run this one by you. This is the one that I tell people to use, right? You meet somebody at the grocery store, and obviously you should talk with everybody around. I tell people, or I encourage people to just say, hey, you know what? I sell real estate, however you want to say it, but do you have anybody that you can rely on if you have questions about the local market? Yes, correct. Right? Yes or no. Either way, you can go, hey, I would love to be that guy. I'd love to be the guy that you can rely on. Let me put you in the data, and then let me put you in my database, and I'll keep you up to date with what's happening.
Yeah, and there's several ways to do it. I like it. It's light, it's easy, it's easy for people to do.
Right.
And then when you get them in the database, it's you're farming. I mean, you're literally growing crops there, so you can produce corn up the road. So it's the contact from there on out, doing it consistently. And it's not rocket science by any means. I tell you, if I can do it, anybody can. And it's a good way of doing it. But I tell you, it builds a business. My thing this year, we're done more production than we ever have. We, go up 25, 30% per year in volume. My goal this year was not to work one weekend and work no more than 45 hours a week. And I've done that about every week, but 2 or 3, and I've only worked one weekend.
Good for you, man. Good for you.
Yeah, that's what we wanted.
What does that business look like in 10 years from now? or when you did your 10-year plan, where do you see yourself?
I have a 5-year plan, I tell you. What I want to do in 5 years is I want to come in, I want to work 35 hours a week. My 35 hours is nothing but talking to my clients, getting in front of them, all the people that I've liked and enjoyed, otherwise they're not in my database. So it's taking them out to lunches, it's taking them out to dinners, it's taking them for referrals, it's staying in touch with them, and occasionally negotiating deals. That's my business plan here.
Okay.
I'm going to have to manage the team there, make sure that everybody's accountable, but I have a, real good listing coordinator that fills my spot, that handles a lot of listing appointments, referrals. We have right now the 3 full-time buyers agents. We'll probably add a 4th that I know are done and done right. We have a transaction coordinator, Jackie. We may get her some help here if we get over that 100 million mark or close to.
How is
and
Jackie?
Then we have an IT guy.
Yeah, I don't understand your team, Brian.
Yeah.
How does Jackie keep up with 390 deals? How in the world does she do it?
I tell you what's probably best is the workflow systems. We've created one. So we've tried the Salesforce, we've tried the Brivities and all. We've created one that kind of works for us so that when we get a transaction, we hand it into Jackie. It's pretty much automated. We upload it into this program and it gives everybody their tasks. So, for example, Christy gets a task, day 13 there through her automated system that says, now it's time to drop off a tape gun with a Sold by Huff Group tape rolls to their doorstep. It just goes on and on and on. So everybody has their duty and nothing slips through the cracks. I'm a control freak, so I want to see every box that's checked there, and that's how we designed the system.
But again, I'm a little bit confused because you have 7 agents and 1 admin. Who is so? And you said that earlier, right? Everybody's got a job. So you give admin type work to your other agents? Is that how?
Jackie, Jackie's work here is strictly behind it's processing contracts.
Okay.
And it's the behind the scenes upkeep. So the title company work, the amendments, everything that's done there. Mm-hmm. Jake is our IT guy. So what he's constantly doing is designing, this is improvements for the websites, the marketing pieces, the client events, the marketing online and so forth. So his specific duty is just our image, getting it out there and really handling the internet marketing work. Okay, Christy, my wife is specifically, along with me, lead generate. Her job is to go out and pop by doors. It's to design the client events and get everything coordinated. So those are kind of our 3 behind the scenes that we have that are, doing the workflow systems daily. And we haven't been overloaded. I mean, we've done real well with it. We haven't been overloaded with it. And I guess it's good systems, good people.
Yeah, geez.
And I wouldn't be opposed. I mean, if Jackie gets overloaded and she tells me, I'd be more than happy to bring somebody on board. But I tell you, we haven't ran into that issue or really anywhere close to it.
I don't know how. I would love to see that system somehow because
yeah, it's a good system. And I guess, a big part of it is we prep everybody ahead of time. We're real good about setting them up on how things work, how the process is going to work. My weekly calls to the sellers and the buyers, and I'll probably avoid a lot of the, naggy phone calls that most people would get. So, all together as a whole, it really works well.
Yeah, no, it works extremely well because I've never. This is I've talked with a lot of people and nobody you have a machine, man, and I don't know. Again, I'd love to see it somehow more in detail to kind of understand it.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this then, right? I mean, because going back your first 4 or 5 years, even though you're banging around, you're doing all the right stuff, and somehow intuitively, man, you knew where to spend your energy and where to chuck it. Right. So let me ask you this: with your professional development, who has been a mentor to you?
I would say mentor-wise, most likely my dad. And the reason being here, he grew up in a business that was, it was an inks manufacturing plant that he had done. But I tell you, the way he cared for his people, the way he ran the business, the way he's held everybody accountable over the years, and, the work ethic that he had would probably be my biggest mentor.
That's interesting. That's good to know.
And that was, it was big there. So, I've always held, when it came time that, hey, I hold myself responsible. If I'm going to see results, it's on me, it's not on anybody else. So I would never a finger pointer. It was getting in and doing it. It was taking good care of everybody. It's every job we do, every deal I do, can I put my name or stamp of approval there? So he would, I'd have to say probably be my mentor.
Okay, cool. And by the way, if you can't tell, we're wrapping up. But, oh, shit, I just hung up on the guy.
Hello?
Yeah. Hey, Brian.
Yeah.
Sorry, buddy. I somehow disconnected you.
No,
So what I was saying was we're wrapping up here. I always ask for a book recommendation. So here's the setup. I'm an aspiring agent. I have $25. What book should I go buy today? And wait, just for you, because you're a KW person, none of Gary's books. They come up way too often.
I tell you the one that I really liked that got me kicked off, it was a Tom Hopkins book. I'll try to look up the name of it and so forth. But, it was a story about him when he was first getting into the business there. And I'm trying to think of the name of it, but let me see if I can look it up here.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Yeah, the art of selling anything is what it was.
Got it. Okay.
It was really, it gave you a lot of the keys to success, the behind the scenes, the input. I did really good with it. I read that book probably 5 or 6 times and referenced it for the first 3 or 4 years, about every other day.
Wow. So I'm seeing How to Master the Art of Selling a couple times. And what was the name of the book? Mastering.
It was How to Master Art of Selling Anything.
Anything. Okay. Okay. Well, listen, everybody, and I'm talking to my audience right now, Brian, but everybody out there, Tom Hopkins has a ton of great sales books. If you want How to Master the Art of Selling Anything, or again, if you look at Tom's books, it's Mastering the Art of Selling. Oh, he's even got one, Mastering the Art of Selling Real Estate, that he wrote in 2004. Get a free copy on us. Just use our link. Go to audibletrial.com/superagentslive and get a free copy. All right, back to you, Brian. So, Brian, look, here's the thing, man. I always encourage my audience. Well, hold on. Let me ask. This is the last question I'm going to ask you, and I don't ask it to everybody. I'm going to ask you 2 last questions. One, and this is a crazy question, but just bear with me. What's something I should have asked you that I didn't ask you?
Mm-hmm. That's hard to say. You covered a lot of good points and so forth,
Okay.
but I would say, number one is maybe something on more the business background of it, like the finances, how to run, or what's been your most costly dollar mistake, something along those lines.
Yeah, well, what is that? What is the biggest dollar mistake that you've made in building this business?
Well, definitely for me, it's the lack of a database, as we had talked about. I missed out on endless dollars, and if somebody would have just stressed on me, hey, Brian, you're building a business, is what needs to happen there, that would save me a lot of money and a lot of time. And also marketing. I put way too much money into every sales gimmick and lead system I could the first 2 to 3 years. All the books tell you to put 30 or 40% of your money made into your marketing and so forth, and I found that not to be the truth.
Interesting. Okay. Do you have, Brian, a personal habit that you think has contributed to your success?
Yeah, it's the prospecting calls, the every morning, the Mondays, Tuesdays,
Right.
Thursdays, Fridays. And, I don't care who's calling, what's happening, what fires are there. That's going to get done because that's my business line. So that's where I'd have to put, 90% of the eggs in that basket.
Yeah, and in a lot of ways, I see your Wednesday calls as somewhat of prospecting calls, right? Because it's, even though you're not prospecting, but you're building that relationship, right? In order
Correct.
Okay, all right. Well,
Yeah,
look,
you're bringing accountability, and
Right.
we don't cancel, they don't expire, we do it right.
So here's how it goes, Brian. Is I always encourage my audience, if they've gotten anything out of this, to reach out and to say thank you to you, and hold on. And because I know you love referrals, so maybe somebody has a referral going back, in Kansas City, and maybe somebody wants to join your team. So where can people find you?
Yes. Website is www.huffgroupkc.com. So www.huff like Frank group, and then KC like KansasCity.com.
Got it. And listen, for everybody,
That's website.
Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, that's website. They can direct emails through there, phone numbers, all that good stuff. So that'll give them all the basic information.
Perfect. And as you guys know, it'll all be on the show notes. Just go to superagentslive.com and see it there. All right, Brian. Hey, listen, I'll be the first guy to kick off the thank you train. I know you're busy.
Yeah.
I know you track. You know exactly how much every down to the penny, right? Like all the stuff that you do. So I appreciate you taking the time out and spending time with me and my audience.
Hey, anytime. Thank you much.
All right, buddy. Let's keep in touch.
Yeah. Bye now.
Let's go.